Sweet and spicy on your tongue. Sweet and spicy, we're here together to join in all this lovely fun. So
Amazing. I
welcome.
hope, was that live? Did everybody in the universe get that? All right. Oh, I just got a text from Mark Zuckerberg. He said that was amazing. Okay. I think we're good to go. Are we ready? Are you ready, Cantor Kate?
Am I ready to say hello?
Sure. Whatever
I'm
you know.
ready to say hello. Welcome
Amazing.
to the second edition of Sweet and Spicy. Benjamin, or I'm sorry, Rabbi Ross.
Hello.
You want to tell them what we have on the menu today?
Wow. We have so many things on our menu. First of all, I'm just excited. Tami is our special guest today. You are actually our first special guest, which makes you the specialist guest that we've ever had, actually. So we're delighted. Thank you for making time to share your cookery wisdom with us. We have a 3-course meal. We have a juicy and crispy chicken dish, which I think is it's kind of life-changing. Then we're going to a pumpkin bisque, which is just, there's nothing that says I love you like pumpkin bisque, except for maybe buttermilk biscuits, which is what Cantor Cates is making. So this meal, I don't know about all of you. I could say for myself, tough week. It's been a tough week. Now, we did not know everything that was going to happen this week. But we thought, just generally, we wanted to do things that were warm and cozy and pleasing and comfort. And I think we are going to be serving it up. So we're so excited all of you made the time to be with us. Cantor Cates, anything else that you want to share or sing or do or dance or give, or just some prophecy that you want to reveal before we jump into this chicken?
I just want you to know all the recipes that you'll see tonight are on the website or on the, what is it, Shul Cloud that you signed up on, but we can also get them to you. So just sit and relax. You are just to watch and then hopefully take home these recipes and do them for yourselves.
Hallelujah. So as you have questions, I'm going to give a little bit of a talk through how this first dish. You can put questions in the chat box. There'll be a little opening. Suhasini courageously will be reading some of the questions out there. She may be editing them if there's any inappropriate questions about my chicken. So I just saw this quote from Deborah Messing from Will and Grace, and this is what she had to say. She said, "I don't know what to tell you, but Jews and chicken, it's real and it's deep." And I think that's true. I think it's really true. Like when I think of like what would be our bird as a Jewish people, as an evolving religious civilization, I would say chicken is up there. We got chicken soup. What else do we have? Chicken and dumplings are very good. I mean, matzo balls, you don't put matzo ball in a beef broth, you put it in chicken broth. And there's just something about, when I think about eating chicken, I think about my grandma. I think about my grandma Mary and her hands and the texture of her skin. And I don't know, I think
Dinner? What's Shabbat dinner without roasted chicken, right?
exactly. Well, now look, Cantor Cates is not a plant. She's just naturally skillful. She knows his stuff, but that's actually the bridge. So let's go. You're taking us there. I'm going to go there with you, Cantor Cates, which is the roast chicken, which everybody here, who's had a roast chicken? Tami? Okay, everybody, okay. So the thing about roast chicken, as we know, when we have a roast chicken, is that it's a mix. It's a mix. Usually the white meat can dry out, the dark meat is juicier. You get some crispiness here, but then you get these kind of like flabby bits in the corner. And so I saw this recipe recently and I thought, this is like game changer. This is like very much like the Jewish people. Like we start with the Torah, Mishnah, Talmud, start with the roast chicken, and then you evolve and you want the best of the best. We keep learning and growing. And I think most of us, I think when we're being honest, I think when we look into that deep, what we would call our Pintele Yid, the kind of center of our Jewishness, one of the things we love is crispy skin. We love crispy chicken skin. And this dish just delivers in a massive way. So I got this dish from Mandy Lee. She has a website called, what's it called? Lady and Pups, and she calls it Flattening the Bird. So I sent the link out to her website. It's 18 minutes of pure pleasure. I think she is like an amazing chef. And she also is just so passionate about this. that I don't know, I think the world of her. So please check out her website and all the things she does. She has other great recipes as well. So I'm going to invite Suhasini, if you can go to the other camera. I'm just going to talk through a couple things. First of all, I just want to say this chicken, this is a pretty small chicken. This is an heirloom chicken. And I don't know if people have seen these in Trader Joe's recently. They're smaller birds. They almost look like Cornish hens. This one is 2.25 pounds. It's 670. And heirloom chickens, they just run wild. So they're not in cages. They're not inside. And I don't know, they taste like the chicken that my grandmother or great grandmother used to make. It just tastes different. I think a free range chicken, even more so than even an organic chicken, is so much tastier than just a regular store bird. And also they don't have those disproportionately massive chunks of white meat, the breast here. It's just normal. It just feels a little bit normal, and the flavor is extraordinary. So if you haven't had heirloom chicken, I encourage you to try it. And yeah, so that's one thing. So we're seeking crispy skin, we're seeking juicy meat. We want to start with a delicious bird, whatever that bird is in your life, it's the perfect bird. And because working with a chicken and cutting it up and getting into the bones and taking apart the joints is a little bit intense for people, I am actually going to cook up some free range thighs instead of a whole chicken. I just did a bunch of thighs. Also, some people don't want to make a whole bird. Maybe you live by yourself or one other person, maybe that person's anti-bird, maybe they only eat fish. So you can just cook up one thigh. I'm going to do 6 because my kids love this. They love this preparation. They love the crispy skin and the juicy meat. And what we do in this dish is there's a couple little very insightful little things. So first of all, I'm going to open this chicken a little bit, but the key tips when you're making this chicken is that once you prepare it, which we'll do a little bit of, then you do just salt and pepper on it. That's the only, you pat it down, you do salt and pepper, and then you put it in the fridge from somewhere between 2 to 6 hours. And what that does when you leave it uncovered in the fridge is it helps to dry out the skin. And as Mandy likes to say, moisture is the enemy of crispiness, and crispiness is of the highest order today. We are seeking high crispy levels, and we don't want any flabby skin. So to do that, we need to dry out the skin. And this is what they'll do when you make a Peking duck to get that kind of lacquered, crispy skin, is they'll dry it out for 2 days. So you can do some of that drying out. You don't want to dry it out too much. I did make that mistake in my first time. I dried it out for 24 hours and the skin was basically translucent. It still was actually totally delicious, but you still want some moisture. You want some moisture in the skin. You just want it to be a little drier. So that's one thing, drying out. And you can do that with steak. We have all probably had, if you've been blessed, with a dry aged steak, which is very delicious. And when you dry age steak, of course, then you're just concentrating the flavor as the liquid and moisture comes out. The second thing, which is very unusual, is that you cook it, you start it in a cold pan. You don't start it in a hot pan. And the reason that you do that is that you want to start drawing out more of the moisture before you start browning it. And then it starts rendering the fat in the pan. Of course, you're doing it skin side down. And in this sense, it is a little bit like fried chicken, but you're cooking in its own fat. And so it's also like a confit, which just means cooking something in its own fat. So when we do cook this might be a little bit shorter because it's not a whole bird, but you put it in the pan cold and you just load it in like this. Even before you turn it on, you just put it in cold, and you want to do as much as possible to get all the bits and bobs of the skin touching the pan, because that skin is going to render, and then that is going to be what you cook the chicken in. So one thing that Mandy Lee does that I think is really smart is she works to open up the chicken to ensure that there is as much coverage as possible. Suhasini, let me quickly ask, time check. What time is it?
5:12, Rabbi.
5:12. Okay, so I have 8 more minutes. So I'm just going to open up one of these as an example. Amazing. Hold on.
Rabbi, while you're doing that, I just want to say that looks so delicious already. I haven't even seen the finished product.
Wow,
You know,
I'm so glad. I
I
think when
am
you see
ready
it
to make
crispy and brown,
that.
you're gonna be very excited. I actually feel like this crispy chicken with the pumpkin bisque with the butter. I wish we could all just be. I mean, I just wish we could all be together,
Oh,
anyways. But I just feel like this meal actually really works. Now, I would say I might throw it like a salad together with some sort of like kind of a lemon vinaigrette dressing, just something kind of crisp and bright to go with it, because this is some heavy things. But all right, so skip it tonight. You can have a salad tomorrow for lunch. So I do a lot with scissors. I don't know if people like using kitchen shears, but I think they're a wonder. And we do a lot of eating in parks now because we're not eating in restaurants. And so when we go out with the kids, we're always taking these because they're good for cutting up ramen noodles or pho. If you go to a Korean barbecue, you can ask for scissors, or you'll see they'll have scissors there. Scissors are a wonder. So here's what we want to do. And this is already, obviously, this is a chicken thigh, so it's pretty flat already. But what we can do, and this is what you would do for the whole bird, is to just get in there and you just want to cut along the bone so that this chicken opens up a little bit more and the skin can come with greater ease down onto the pan. And that is what she does with the bird. So I'm just going to show for just a little bit. I'm not going to open up the whole bird. It can be a little bit intense. It can be a little bit intense to open a bird. Some people don't like working with birds or cutting through joints or doing any of that work. I have found since I've been at home, I have been loving it. I buy the whole bird. I usually get an organic bird or something. And this is a little bit different than when you think of spatchcocking a bird to open it up. That is when you're cutting out the backbone here. You do 2 cuts. You pop out the backbone, you save that, as Melissa Clark of the New York Times has taught me, and just make a quick chicken soup to make a broth. This one, you are actually starting up top here, and you first can just clip along the top. And I already took out the wishbone because we're gonna have to cut through that. I did that before, and that takes a little bit of work. And then you just kind of clip right in here, and you'll see that as I'm cutting through, already the bird just opens up. So it's pretty amazing. It happens very fast. And you'll see then what she has us do is then just kind of pop this back here, and this will fall back. And then you can take these little guys and you can cut them off. You can also put that in a stock bowl. And what Mandy Lee does, which I am not going to do, she's really the master at it, and we sent out the link, is that she will go through this entire bird. And I actually, if you're into cooking and you're into kind of like understanding the anatomy of a bird a little bit more, it's actually pretty amazing. But she gets it. She even gets into the legs here, where you are basically opening up this entire bird until it is able to be almost, I would say 99% flat on the pan. And you'll see she's even opening up these legs here and the thighs. And she will cut out this breastbone here and part of the plate so that when you put it in a pan, that you are able to lie it almost 100% flat. And that when you do that, versus like when you have a roast chicken, you have almost all of the fat is on the pan. And it is just a total wonder. And that's all you have to do. And so we're actually skipping this entire step of going through this and just using these beautiful chicken thighs. And so I'm gonna pause. I think we have a couple minutes before we hand it over to
Rabbi Ross.
Yeah.
There is a question from Larry Sterling. He wants to know if you would use a non-stick pan or an iron pan. What
That
kind
is
of
a great
pan would you
question.
use?
The answer to that question, and you'll see when you see Mandy talk about this, is that she is very adamant that you have to use a non-stick pan. Even a very well-seasoned cast iron pan will not be of service to you. You want and this is a very inexpensive, very lovely pan. I think my parents got it for me, and it is non-stick, and so we want to use utensils that obviously aren't going to scrape it. But that's it. Yeah, use a non-stick pan. And I just turned this on, so it's cold. We'll see, we're making sure that everything is positioned. and it will start to render slowly, and it will take probably about 20 to 25 minutes on this side. And then right before it is finished, then you'll see that the oil and the fat will be rendered from this. I will add just some garlic, and then I have some thyme, and then you flip it over and give it another 2 to 3 minutes, and that's it. It is such an easy dish. It's such an easy dish. So let me pause and see if there's other questions. Suhasini, people can either put it in the chat, or if people want to raise their hands, Suhasini will be able to see you and call on you.
I think just some of the vegetarians got a little bit upset with hurting the bird.
Well, that bird is dead already. So I feel you. I feel you. I would say a couple of the techniques that are really nice. We also do a lot of cooking of tofu. And if you're grilling tofu or putting in the oven also, if you're doing it after you marinate it, to dry it and then to brown it is the way to get the most caramelization, where a lot of the flavor is. So in that sense, you can use some of the techniques. I'm always, when you buy tofu, it's really, I think, important to take a towel and squeeze out some of the water for it to be able to absorb whatever marinade it's in.
And you know,
sorry for my vegetarian friends.
I think we have a night of I'm doing some tofu. So that's
great.
Lois Littman would like to know what temperature the chicken is going to be cooked at.
You know what? Thank you so much, Lois. I thought I needed to mention that, and then I absolutely forgot. So she suggests putting it kind of medium low. So you don't want it. You want to cook it nice and slow. So this is what it is on my pan. And if you have a double ring, that's great. If not, that's also okay. So I don't want it high like this. I don't know if you can see that, but really probably medium low. Like if it's 1 to 10 at like a 3.5 or something like that. Amazing. So we're gonna let this cook. If there aren't any other questions, I'm gonna ask Cantor Kate to introduce Tami. And then when we come back, I'll try to either finish it with you or I'll finish it, and then we'll kind of get a look at it at the end.
Well, thank you, Rabbi Ross. Tami Lowensohn is well known around Leo Back's kitchen. When I first started and people knew that I like to cook, they said, oh my God, you have to meet Tami. And thank God we like each other and learn to cook together in the kitchen. And we've done lots of fun things together. But you can also find Tami in your own kitchen on TV shows. Yes, TV shows like All Rise, Homecoming, Goliath, and there's a lot of others. But you know what she does is she prepares the food that you see on the screen. Isn't that cool? I think that's really cool. So she pre-prepares it. She might make like 4 briskets because they have to do like 4 different takes of a scene, and it has to be a whole brisket when you start. So that's what Tami does in her, in her spare time when she's not dealing with her garden or her beehives. But she's going to help you to make some wonderful things just like the movie stars like to eat. So enjoy.
Thank you, Linda. So I actually, for the bird lovers, the people who are sad about the bird, we're going the opposite. This is for the gluten-free vegans. Okay, so take a breath. There'll be no lives lost in this. And what we're making is pumpkin coconut bisque. And today I'm actually almost vegan. But what I did, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to move the camera around, you're going to see it. The first thing we do is we cut up an onion and cook it. You could cook it in butter. You could cook it in coconut oil. I don't care what you cook it in until it's nice and soft. And can you see that it's nice and soft? Okay.
You can see it. Looks great.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to add the rest of the ingredients, which are going to be pumpkin. And I'm going to have a couple words to say about this, a pumpkin. You could use canned pumpkin. You can use pumpkin that you make from a pumpkin. I don't care where the pumpkin comes from. It's just plain pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, just pumpkin in a can. In my case, I had a pumpkin in my house, so I used that. And it's a little runnier than regular pumpkin from a can. Then you're going to add broth. You could add vegetable broth. I'll confess that this is chicken broth, but pretend it's vegetable broth. So, and then you're going to add some spices. So the spices we're going to add are, what do we have here? Nutmeg, no. Allspice that's ground in here, some sugar and some red pepper. And then here's my trick, and I'm going to show you this. This pumpkin is a little bit loose, and it's going to make my soup watery. So here is my trick for those of you gluten-free vegan. Add some cooked rice. Okay? So now I'm going to put the camera back up here and stop making everyone car sick. Well, maybe I am. Okay. So I have my pot with the onion. I'm adding my pumpkin. I'm adding my broth. Turn that down a little bit. I'm adding my sugar, my peppers, and my red hot peppers, and my allspice. And I know this is going to be loose, so I'm adding, I would say this is about half a cup of pre-cooked rice right now. Stir it up, put it on the stove.
Tami, we lost your picture.
Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, stirred it up, put it on the stove on low. All I want to have happen is I want those flavors to blend together. So now while we're waiting for that, that's really such a homey, delicious dish. Not realizing that this was going to be such a hard week, I had kind of a celebratory thing going for us, which is my favorite easy to use thing, Athenos Phyllo cups. They come just like this. Let me show you. You see that tray? They come like that in a tray. I'm apparently not very good at aiming here. 15 in a tray. They can be sweet or they can be savory. So what we're going to do is a savory hors d'oeuvre and a sweet dessert. My savory hors d'oeuvre, I can't tell you how easy it is. So there's a story which is, in March, I was supposed to have a baby shower here. I want you to know it's 5:26, that soup is already going. With canned pumpkin, yeah, you probably don't need to add the rice to thicken it, but you'll make that decision. And you can have it handy or not, it'll be fine either way. Anyway, I was gonna have a baby shower here. The baby shower was canceled. Part of the baby shower was the dish I'm gonna show you now, which is these little delightful things filled with creme fraiche and caviar. The caviar has been in my fridge for 9 months. On it, it says, sell by 1/26. It's good for another 5 years. So that's a little gross, but what we're gonna do, this could not possibly be easier. I have some creme fraiche here that I made. You can make it or you can buy it, or you can use sour cream. If you make it, in general, it's put some cream in a cup add either sour cream or buttermilk, shake it up, leave it outside on the counter for about a day and a half, and then put it in the fridge. And this is what you're gonna get. Let's see if I can show you. It's creamy and it's delicious. So what we're gonna do, clearly I need help with my setup. I'm just gonna take this cup, I put a little creme fraiche in it. I'm gonna put a little caviar in it. And I have some chives. I'm gonna cut and put some chives. And I'm done. Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful.
So I did that with my black caviar. Here's my red. Same thing. A dollop of creme fraiche. A dollop of caviar. This is salmon caviar.
So Tami, if we didn't want caviar, what else could we use to substitute? Like,
Oh, did you know that I have an answer for that?
no.
No, I do. Okay, here's my salmon one. So that's that. So then I said, what if I don't want to do caviar? So I have for you, oh yeah. Let's just use some
Sour
whipped cream cheese, nice fluffy cream cheese, a dollop of that. And in my case, I'm going to use a Southern thing called green tomato jam. I had tomatoes in my garden this year. I had to figure out things to do with them. I did some green tomato jam. And it's a little spicy. So there you go. I actually just—
Hey, Tami, do you ever try putting a little like chopped up capers in there? Because I feel like they have some of that salinity of caviar. It's gonna be really nice.
Here's the thing with this. You can do anything you can think of goes well in this. And what I'm actually gonna do, red pepper, because I'm all about the color. Now look at this. Okay, can you guys see that? That's why we do the color. So now we have that. Okay, so those are our starters. Now, can we do the same? I'm looking at this, hang on. And the soup looks very nice. We keep going there. Now, let's do the next thing. My bad. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do sweets now. We did the savory, let's do some sweets. So what I did was I took some of these and I happened to have those, you would start by dipping them in chocolate. I happen to have those blue candy melts, so I dipped some of them in that, but I'm gonna show you another little trick. I'll show you exactly how to do it. Here's some white chocolate that I got soft. It's nice and soft. Watch this. And I'm done. I just need to sit it here and let it dry out. Let it get hard. There's an even more fun thing you can do if I can find my, here it is. Little sprinkles. So now what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna dip it in the white chocolate. dip it into sprinkles. Look at this.
Lovely.
Okay, what am I gonna put in these?
That was my question.
All right, I have a few ideas. This is whipped cream. Trader Joe's lemon curd. The whipped cream is going in on top of the lemon curd. Stir it up.
Like a mousse.
Yep. I'm putting it in the blue one because I forgot that I meant to do this. I have some blueberries in the fridge. I'm going to stick a blueberry on top of that, but there you go. That's one. Two. I happen to have mango ice cream, which I made. I know. A scoop of mango ice cream. I'm going to do that also in the blue. I have that handy. And this is a little flower made out of frosting. Look at that. And you can see how much time it is not taking me to do this.
Yum.
Okay.
Speaking of time, we have about 6 minutes left until we roll over to Cantor Kate's. Just
Well,
about.
almost done because I also have chocolate pudding. So you know where this is going. Chocolate pudding.
I know where I'm going. I'm going to the chocolate pudding.
I know, and the whipped cream, yeah.
Whipped cream. Mix it up. Here's the thing, it doesn't even matter. So if it's smooth or not, who cares? Okay.
So I have another question, Tami.
Yeah.
Do you pop the whole thing in your mouth? The whole?
Well, it depends on if anybody's looking or not, but let's find out. Here, I'm going to use this white one. There is the chocolate mousse. And when I was in the cupboard, I found chocolate covered coffee beans. You buy the cups, Charlene, at Vons, at any grocery store. And if you're shopping online, Athenos Philo cups. So that's that one.
Whoa.
Mm.
Are they in the refrigerated section?
In the freezer.
Freezer section. Okay, thank you.
In the freezer. Okay. That was delicious. That was so good. Okay. Questions? Thank you, Freema. I'm telling you, on these things, whatever you have in your freezer, any ice cream, it doesn't matter. I would eat it, but I'm still working on that other one. What I'm gonna do, just so you know, I could make some more of these and put them on a plate so you'll see what they look like at the end, and I'll do that while Linda's doing her thing. The other thing I have to do is noisy, so I'm gonna not be on when I do it. The only thing I need to do to that soup are the cups already cooked. The cups are already cooked. They're in the freezer. So if you put something together, they actually get soft pretty quickly. So make them either at the last minute, or if you do what I did and put ice cream in it, put it back in the freezer before you're ready to serve it. Okay. The only thing I'm going to do while Linda's doing her thing, I'm going to take the soup and add a can of coconut milk. And I'm gonna blend it like crazy in the blender until it is the smoothest thing you can imagine, like whipped cream. Okay? Questions?
Thank you, Tami.
Linda, I'm giving you 3 minutes back.
That was amazing. Oh, I'm not even going to use them, but yes, the only problem with all of your cute little desserts and appetizers is that we don't have a way to have a big party with everyone so that we can serve all of your sweet things. Anyway, here I am. I am going to show you one of the easiest recipes and cozy and good for a Sunday morning or any time, an evening with chili or an evening with a hot soup like Tami's making. So these are buttermilk biscuits. I originally was going to do an artisan bread, I will be honest. And I had not made an artisan bread. I am not even going to attempt a sourdough starter. So I tried the artisan bread, and it was supposed to rise in the refrigerator for 24 hours. 12 hours first in the bowl and another 12 hours in, I think it's called a banneton. And I did all that. And 24 hours later, I go and look at it. Didn't rise. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But I did actually wind up making it rise a little, and it did come out good. But maybe another time we'll do the artisan bread. So for today, this is such an easy recipe. I already have a little bit of flour in here. Here is 2.5 cups of flour. We're going to just pour that in, and we're going to just sift with a big sifter. There's also a little sugar that goes into it, just 4 teaspoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to add it in there so that we can sift that together. And before all the sifting's done, I'm going to add baking powder. And I'm just going to take 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And baking powder is really important also for the rise. And here's my 4th. And I'm almost done with my baking powder, which is Trader Joe's. We're doing a little a little sales pitch for Trader Joe's. And there you go. There's all of the dry ingredients. I mean, that's it. Sugar, flour, salt, which was over there, and baking powder. Ta-da! And we have everything sifted in there. While Tami was doing her desserts, I just melted 1/4 cup of butter in here. I found that I like the butter. That's what makes it so good. Then you don't even have to add any butter to it. But if you wanted to make it a little less caloric, you can just add a little less butter. And then the last thing is buttermilk. And we add 1 cup and 3/4 of buttermilk. And here we go.
Cantor Cates, we have a question. What style is that sifter, and is sifting a benefit, or can it be skipped?
Sifting, that's a great question. This is just like a colander that you would just, put. I put my blueberries in here to just rinse them out. It's not any major sifter, but I use it as a sifter. Some sifters you buy that are big, you kind of move it with your hand and it sifts. You know what? I just like that. It's easy. As I said, I think last time, I'm not a fancy cook. I just, improvise and cook to make, things good. I just poured a little too much as we were talking. And what was the other question? Oh, sifting is important. Yes, because it makes it thins out the flour. So yes, you want it makes the flour finer.
I've noticed with baking that you don't get these clumps of flour in it if you sift it.
Yeah,
You have it.
important. There's many ways that I improvise on recipes, but then there's other ways you don't want to improvise. So all I'm doing now is just mixing it together. Look how easy that was. 4 dry ingredients and buttermilk. And then we're just going to add it here to our dish. Like I said, because there's so much butter in it, it almost doesn't need butter at the end. Just a little bit of honey on it, a little bit of marmalade, a little jam, and you've got really good hot biscuits out of the oven. And I have to say, through all of Tami's cooking part, I'm smelling the already made biscuits because I did make a batch this morning, and they smell delicious.
I'm jealous. Marilyn Ross has a question. Would you use bread flour?
That's a good question. I have never used bread flour for these biscuits. I just use regular all-purpose flour. But you know, bread flour, I think what bread flour has is more gluten in it, if I'm correct, for rising. But I am not altogether sure on that. Somebody I know is going to correct me on that in the chat. Right now, I'm finding that this is just a teeny bit dry. That's why I was trying to get a little more buttermilk out of there. All right, and here is my dish. And look at this. All you do is you dump it in the dish. I told you. I think I told you last time. I'm a messy cook. And there you go. And we're going to just go a little bit, like try to get it to just be on all the edges. Kind of smooth it out. There's almost there. And I'm going to take this. Are there any more questions while I'm doing this?
No other questions for you. We had some questions for Tami, if Tami has a second. They were asking if you could use almond milk, or if you don't like coconut milk, what kind of milk you might use in the soup, the bisque.
You can do what you want. I mean, it's pumpkin coconut bisque. That said, you can use whatever you want, because what you're really doing, you might not even need milk, okay? What you're really doing, and this is one of the things I do a lot, it's really what I call any vegetable soup. Any vegetable soup is made the same way. You start with an onion and soften it in oil. Then you add your vegetables and a liquid. It's not beer, you know, I mean, you're gonna add vegetable broth. A lot of people do soup. And then you add, if you need it, something milky or creamy.
Tami, I have used beer. If you can cook it down like wine, you know, after you sweat the vegetables, put in, you know, any spices, and then hit it with some wine or a beer, cook that down, get the alcohol out, and then go with stock. That can be very tasty.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. You use your head. It depends on the vegetable. Like, could you do it with mushrooms? Cream,
mushrooms and wine and beer, perfect. Umami galore.
Okay, but I mean, so that's my answer there. Use anything you want.
Yeah, I've even, when I wanted something non-dairy, I've added mocha mix to make it creamy. That was even before almond milk was invented, or became popular, I should say. All right, here's the last thing on mine is I use this dough cutter or scraper, they call it, and I just put in a line. So it's 2 lines across and 2 lines the other way, and that makes your what do you call it? You know, it defines your biscuits. And I'm going to put a little of this back, and then you can also do it with a knife. And sometimes I just want to say that I've done this. If it doesn't it's pretty much working. It's hard to do because then sometimes the lines get baked together. So somewhere in the middle of the baking, I might go in again with the knife and just make sure that I don't know if you could see that it's defined, and there's now 9 biscuits in there. And that's what it makes, 9 biscuits. I'm going to pop it in the oven. And when we put
Awesome.
things back,
Judith Wiseman wants to know if that is a Pyrex dish.
that is a Pyrex dish. You could do this in a ceramic dish. You could do it in a round dish. Anything that you want to pop in the oven. If you want round, I've seen it done round. I just happen to like this because it makes 9 even biscuits for my family, and they fight over it. So you'll see the finished product in just a few minutes. I think, we should go to Benjamin first, or Rabbi Ross, sorry.
Amazing.
For that
So-
chicken.
I am so hungry. I am really wanting biscuits. And I don't think I would stint on the butter, because a biscuit without butter is
I'm
like
with you on that.
matzo ball soup without a matzo ball, honestly. So if you're going to make something like that, like really make it, is what I would say, and maybe have it less frequently. This is the final product here. And one thing that you can do just to see if you get the crispiness is you can just, I don't know if you can hear, there's kind of a scratchy sound. I don't know if it's coming through.
Like a crackling, delicious
A crackling sound, but you
Yeah.
want it browned and cooked down. And there's I put some fresh thyme as well as some of the cooked garlic. It is so tasty. And an added thing is that, as Tami was saying with a vegetable soup or another chicken soup, is at the bottom of this is some rendered fat with garlic and thyme. And this is a great starter for another soup or almost any other dish. So definitely keep this. Of course, this is schmaltz. This is Jewish liquid gold. And it is delicious. So I don't know. Let me just see before Cantor Case, if we have a little time, if people have any other questions about the chicken before we transition out. And I hope everybody is getting ready in some way or another. Here come my kids, the chicken eaters. How does that look? He likes it. Okay, don't breathe on it though. And yes, they're usually chicken leg guys, but I think they're gonna go for the thighs tonight. I just tell them they're flattened out thighs, and that seems to work. Any questions? Suhasini, any questions? Ooh, okay.
No questions. Larry Sterling wanted to know who gets the 4th biscuit, Cantor Cates.
Beautiful question.
Oh, because there's 9?
Yep.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, it's me, of course. All right, do you want to see my finished product? So here are the finished biscuits, and I will just cut here so you can have a look. Wait, there we go. And there are your biscuits. They're amazing. Look at that. Look at how yummy and brown on the top. And it doesn't need any butter.
Judith Wiseman is requesting a closer shot of the biscuits because they look so good and we can't
They do
smell
look good.
them.
And do you deliver Cantor Cakes?
There they
Oh
are.
my God.
Love the browning on the top.
Buttermilk biscuits. You can't go wrong with buttermilk biscuits. And how easy was
Cantor
that?
Cakes, I do have a question for you. Do you ever not put them all in a pan, but just take them and bake them off individually? You know, so they're individual
you mean
biscuits?
like in a muffin tin?
Yeah, or something. We just got amazing biscuits from this restaurant called, what was it called? Lemon Poppy Cafe on the east side in Gissel Park, I think it's called. It was they were amazing, but because then you get more of the brown.
Park.
How do you say it? Gissel Park?
Gissel Park.
It was fabulous. So can you do those individually as well, or are they meant to be baked like that? Do you know?
I have done them individually, Rabbi Ross. I'm not the cooking expert here on this show, but I will say I grew up just making them into little rounds and cooking them, but that's the more home style, Cantor Kate style of biscuits, I think.
I love that. I like
Yeah.
that, just doing it that way too. It's great. Awesome.
Thank you.
I think Suhasini might be our special guest next time. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it, Suhasini. I know you got some dishes. She's definitely got some serious baked goods. I've been a witness. Tami, is there anything else that you want to say about your dishes, or do people have any? Tami, I think, did like 14 different dishes in like 20 minutes. I don't know who's getting to eat all those little delightful items with the caviar, but I live in Westwood, and you've seen my kids. They like to eat, and my kids, honestly, they do eat that stuff. So don't hesitate to drop some off.
Okay,
Oh my God, look how adorable they look.
that is the hors d'oeuvre. And here's the soup. I threw some pumpkin seeds on top,
So fun.
and there's dessert.
Whoa. Oh my God.
So as you can see, it goes pretty fast.
Wow.
It would
she
go
is a
pretty fast
pro,
in my
isn't
house.
she? Look at that.
So there we had it.
Beautiful job. Yay. So you all have to tell us if you make any of these recipes at your home, maybe take a picture and email it to us. Tami, aw.
Soup is so good.
I'm gonna make all of them. It's so much fun, and I'm so glad that you joined us. Anything else anybody else wants to say or ask? Rabbi Ross? I think
that's it. I hope that you I just was able to quickly check the chats, and we don't have the technology to check Facebook and all those things, but I saw Frima made this note about the history of Jews and the chicken and Holocaust survivors. And I think food is it is a place of our history and comfort in our people, as it is for most people. And I hope if you make one of these dishes or another dish, but that you take a little time. I was talking with Bobby Bilson before about just the kind of meditative practice of cooking, of finding something you love and preparing it. You can see that with Cantor Cates and with Tami. Like, we all just love to cook, and hopefully whatever that thing is, that was just our chickens, actually. That you just cook something that brings you great joy and comfort this week. So may it be so.
Maybe so, and may your week be sweet
And spicy.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.